What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here, and welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ podcast. I'm your host, owner, operator of a full-service private investigation security consulting company, corporate theft investigations, criminal defense investigations, litigation support investigations, pre-cohabitation, long-term relationship, or marital investigations. I will give you a look into that person's past. Okay, also, of great note and great pride to me is personal coaching, personal development coaching sessions, virtual sessions or live sessions if you're in the local area. You have goals you want to achieve, you have things you want to change about your personality, or you want a roadmap to success in whether it's your dating life, professional life, or even your health. I will set you straight. Reach out to me at RUSS, R-U-S-S, at privateeruss.com. That's privateeruss.com. Excuse me. Alternatively, you can send me a direct message on X. I'm at Private Eye Russ. I'm there every day, not all day, but I will get back to you guys. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into this one. This one's going to be a little bit of a sensitive subject, okay? This is about you guys who hire sugar babies and some of the things you need to be very, very careful of. And this is going to probably spin off a couple of other story times as well, too. And so, with the story times, I always change things up materially, not to be deceptive, but to protect people's identity and also to protect myself from future litigation. So, this one involves a young lady who her parents, and I say young lady, she was not an adult. At the time, she was 17 years old. But the parents were like, she's leaving, she's going out, she's hanging out with a bunch of her friends that, we don't know anything about. Very, very nice neighborhood. Very, 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 very wealthy family. Okay. And that plays a part later on. You guys will understand why I bring that up. I'm not bringing that up because wealthy people are supposed to be just nicer than everybody else and perfect. That's not how life works, is it? But you'll see. So the parents hire me, and they're like, look, we want you to kind of look into her life. Now they're adults and she's a minor, but what happens is if you're not in a authoritative relationship with your child as they grow up, once they get into those teen years, they're not going to look at you as an authority figure. You have to establish that from a very early age. You can't let them get to 15, 16, 17 years old and then start trying to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to, I'm going to lay down the law. By that point, they just don't want to hear it. And then, you're trying to ice skate uphill, which is one of my favorite quotes from the movie Blade, the first one, but from the very end. But anyway, so side note. So with this one, we did a lot of, surveillance on the young lady, and, we noticed a pattern of behavior, and that pattern of behavior led us to believe that she was engaged in sex work, right? And so, so initially we're like, oh man, this is sex with a minor. And so what happens is, we wound up talking to one of the individuals, and I talked about this in another video before. Wound up talking to one of the individuals who had some particular vulnerabilities and things that he didn't want to get out, and so that was used as leverage to get him to give us, to give me more of a complete story. He met her on a sugar baby site. We saw the ID. We saw where she was, and so I was able to capture that information and look it up on this particular sugar baby app site, and I found her. And the thing about these apps is that they go through a very stringent process to verify the individual's age. Okay, but as we saw with the Matt Gaetz story, look that up if you want to. He was set up. But the young lady, similar to this, used a fraudulent ID. And so, we have these things in Florida called Real ID. I think that's a nationwide thing, Real ID, where you've got to have some star in the upper right corner of your driver's license, right? So, and that's supposed to ensure that this person, is who they say they are. However, I'm personally working on cases right now of fraud where people have taken a person's social security card and birth certificate. And I hear people saying right now, yelling at their keyboards or screens, well, you need more than that. Well, they were able to get IDs with someone else's name. And these are state-issued, county-issued ID cards. And so they're real IDs, but with someone else's identity. All right, and this happens a lot. Still happens. I don't know why I had to go personally down to the DMV to get my new license instead of being able to mail it in, because apparently you can just get a fake one anyway. But that's governments in action, and most governments, usually they don't do anything particularly well. But anyway, so this young lady was working quite frequently, and all told, a bunch of her teenage friends also in high school were also doing the same thing, all from well-to-do families. And so, this was one of my, she's not doing it for the money stories. Obviously, I'm leaving out a bunch of the details just for the purpose of getting across a point. But these are young ladies from well-to-do families. Literally, they could have anything they want monetarily, but they seem to take pride in in getting wealthy, successful men to pay them for time with them. And again, I talk to people about sugar babies. Sugar babies are sex workers, and so these young ladies were engaging in sex work. That's bad by itself. Number one, the parents didn't know what they were doing. And you find that a lot with really wealthy families. Not always, but a lot, where they're so busy. Say dad is busy with things, mom is busy with a bunch of different things. They're not really paying attention to the kids. And I know from, after raising a son, that it takes more than just putting food on the table and a roof over their head. You actually have to train them as they grow up in different stages, because you're dealing with a different person from 6 month increments. That same child at 6 months is going to be completely different at 1 years old. And so you need to stay on top of that. It's a full-time job. I know it's a lot of work, but you brought a child here. You owe it to them to give them the best start in life. Anyway, I'll stop my lecture that part. The really bad part, and the really, really dangerous part with this whole particular thing, is that there are men out there who are hiring sugar babies that think these are adults, and they're not actually adults, some of them. I'm not talking all, I'm not saying all. There's plenty of women on there that are doing things the way they're supposed to, but there's a certain percentage of underage girls that are engaging in this. And it is a lucrative way. They can make some decent money. I'm sure it's exciting for them. But, from the guy's standpoint, if you wind up getting jammed up for this, you are not going to get much sympathy from a judge. Matt Gaetz was a senator and an attorney, and and if not for his position, would he have avoided jail time? You know what? I think probably not, but he wound up in that situation as well too. I won't go into it. It's been well documented, but the story behind it is absolutely insidious. But there are people out there getting fake identifications, engaging in sugar baby stuff. So this, for the sugar baby guys, you guys are darksiders. You may not think you're darksiders, because the vehicle you use to engage these services is a legal business. Somehow sugar babies are legal, even though it is sex work, but somehow it is 100% legal. But if you get jammed up, you could be looking at a really steep uphill climb in ice skates. So anyway, that's your boy Private RUSS with a warning to the sugar daddies. Be really, really careful. Be extremely, extremely careful. I know guys that have gotten robbed by sugar babies. I know one guy here stateside who got drugged by a sugar baby, and her crew came and cleaned out his house. And so you've got to be careful. Don't just look at a pretty face and think, okay, she wouldn't do me any harm. If I wanted to get into somebody's home of good graces and the guy was a straight male, I would send a beautiful woman after him. The honey trap is almost undefeated. So anyway, it's your boy Private RUSS. Reach out to me if you need some help. Please like, subscribe, share, get in the comment section below. Again, I've been missing in action just because I pretty much lost my voice. And so I just, I could post on X and write things, but I couldn't really make any videos. I'm still struggling with my voice, man. But I'm going with some holistic methods to deal with the allergies. I think I'm allergic to the state of Florida. I never had allergy issues until I moved to Florida. So anyway, like, subscribe, share. I will be putting out more videos more frequently, and on a daily basis. I have a bunch that are saved up. We will be making some other announcements soon. I heard from somebody recently who might be able to help me with my website woes, and so hopefully that'll be done soon. My book is almost done, and so that will be announced as well too. I'm just organizing the final parts of it. I know I've said that for a while, but I do run a business. I run more than one business. Besides doing the private investigation, I own the company, and so I have investigators working for me. I deal with clients personally. I work on cases myself personally. I also volunteer some of my time to search for missing and exploited children. I'm also a licensed bail bondsman. And so, I don't own a bail bonds company. At some point, I may open one here in Central Florida, but other bondsmen will hire me to track down their skips. And so, I wind up getting on projects that stay super, super busy. Like I was working all day yesterday, and then last night I didn't get home. Well, I got home this morning at about 4 a.m., 4:15, and then was back up at 8 because I had things to do, and I'm still doing what I have to do. So I will talk to you guys in the next one. Please be patient with me. Let's grow this community and get the word out to more guys. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.